My name's John Clark. I'm from Cypress, Texas. My home parish is Prince of Peace. Well, I went to college. I went to the University of Texas at Austin, and I got my degree in rhetoric and writing, which should, I hope, be helpful as a priest. So, it was definitely in mind. I went in as a chemistry major, and just as time went on, I felt more and more strongly called, so I switched over to rhetoric, and I lived in a house for a year with a priest, a discernment house. I was in the Diocese of Austin, and their vocation director lives near UT's campus, and they have this house where you kind of can have a mini seminary experience. You live with the priests, you pray with them, you have Mass with them every day. There are house jobs, so, either you're cleaning the living room or whatever. Community meals are a really important part of that lifestyle in which you are living with other men who are discerning and praying, and then you get to actually just share in one another as friends. So a really kind of beautiful year, that second year I had at UT. And I actually ended up leaving that house because I thought I didn't want to be a priest, and I had felt that I had grown enough in prayer that I was able to kind of maintain a life as a good man, which is often how a lot of guys end up leaving seminary too. Is, they realize that the Lord isn't calling them, and they leave, but they're prepared to live a normal and holy life as a married man. And I thought that was where the Lord was calling me. And senior year, I lived with some friends from college, and, I kept going to prayer with that foundation that had been set at the discernment house. And, the Lord kept tugging. That was certain. I came to a realization at some point that I could get married, and even if the Lord was calling me to be a priest, that I could still go to heaven. It sounds really simple thinking about it now. Like, of course, right? Like, if if the Lord has a plan for you and you mess it up, so to speak, He has more plans, contingencies, and we trust in divine providence because of that. But once I made that realization, I was able to pursue the call to priesthood a lot more freely. I began to understand that the Lord has given me freedom, and that I am able to use it in accord with Him. And when I did that, I was able to make the choice a lot more freely. I wasn't trying to force myself into a mold of God wants me to be a priest, so I have to be a priest. No, it was a free choice, and I get to enter in with God in the decision. And so by the end of my first semester of senior year, I called up the vocations director back home and got interviews set up and entered with the diocese as soon as I left college. So at the beginning, I think I just realized that it was priests that help people. And specifically, I think with the sacraments, we all have that encounter in the sacraments, either with the Eucharist or in reconciliation, in which we realize the great freedom and the gifts that are given to us. And I wanted to be part of that. And very early on, I think I was about 13. That's early on for me. Some guys you'll hear 4, but I think I was about 13 when the thought first popped into my mind. And so there was just something there, that giving. And as time has gone on, and my understanding of priesthood has grown so much more, I just have come to realize what a great joy it is to be a priest, to be able to live simply and to give oneself to a community freely. And there's a great interplay of love between the priest and his parish in the sacraments that he gives and the ones that they receive. And so to kind of empower the people of God to be able to go out and live beautiful, wonderful lives in love with the Lord is really wonderful. Seminary has such a unique community life. Every man is different. Every man has followed a different path to get to the seminary, and we all truly love the Lord. And so to have that community striving together in virtue, striving together towards priesthood is a great gift. Just like all parts of life, seminary has its struggles. It's got its oddities, its weird kind of cooped up feeling sometimes. And when that happens, you lean on your brothers for support. And it's a unique place. I mean, living with 60 other men who all love the Lord, it's just a very different way of life than I think I'll ever experience again. So, yeah. I want to be a priest that prays. And I think that's really all you can ask for. Every man has his faults. Nobody's perfect. And when we talk about good priests and bad priests, whatever that means, I find myself seeing priests of very different opinions, very different styles. But they're all good if they pray. And if they're truly faithful to the Lord and they follow what they think the Lord is asking them to do. So for me, I think the main guide is to be a priest who prays and a priest who learns from Christ himself. Nothing has been more helpful in my discernment than watching and learning from the priests who teach us in formation. And to hear the stories of their lives and to see how it's formed them as men. I can think of so many different stories they've told us about their priestly ministry, in which you realize, which I've realized, that the priesthood it's this beautiful thing. The way that they interact with families, the way the priests know so many different people and in such a different way, They really are fathers. We use that title all the time, father, but the love that each of my formators have had for the people of God has really inspired me in a way that I really didn't expect. It is truly a gift. So pray. There is nothing that you can do other than pray and to nurture what might be a call. I know for me, a very helpful prayer has been, Lord, make my desires your desires. You often hear, Lord, what is your will? Give me your will. Let me know what you want. And that's a good prayer, but also, God, make me want what you want. And that's been so helpful for me. If you aren't in touch with God, you need to be, because otherwise your discernment's going to be scrambled and confused. And this doesn't even go for priesthood. This is for everybody. If you want to know what to do and who to be, go to prayer and allow the encounter with God to change you.